Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lysha and I am the owner of Lysha Be Creative. In today's tutorial, we're back with another pen tutorial, but I'm going to show you how you can create your very own pen wraps and how easy it is to use your printed pen wraps on pens from MakerFlow. So of course, everything I use in today's tutorial will be listed and linked down in the description box. Definitely check the description box out for discount codes and links to all of today's products, as well as ways that you can follow me on social media. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's tutorial. Hi everybody. So today I want to show you guys how you can create your very own pen wraps for your pens. So we're going to be using a different style pen today, and I want to be able to show you how you can create your own pen wraps in Procreate. So you guys know that I love to use Procreate for a lot of my digital work, and I do a lot of creating my own digital designs, seamless patterns, as well as SVGs and PNG files for tumbler decals and such. And so I want to show you guys another way that you can utilize Procreate to create your own pen wraps that fit perfectly around your glittered or UV resin pens. So the first thing we're going to want to do before we get work into creating a pen wrap is we want to create a canvas or create the size of the template we're going to need to be working on. So opening your Procreate app, you're going to go to this plus sign at the top. And I've already created one, as you can see here, but I'm going to show you how you can create your own and what size that I typically use. So we're going to go to New Canvas. And we're going to title the canvas Pen Wraps. And then we're going to change the sizing. Instead of by pixels, we're going to come down here and switch that to inches. I like to work in inches, it's just easiest for me. So the width of the pen wraps that I make that really fit perfectly with just the slightest amount of overlap, which is perfect when you're doing a glittered pen, is 1.5 inches wide by 4.75 inches long, okay? So once you have your sizing correct, you're just going to go ahead and click create. And this is going to open up a blank canvas for you to use in the size that you just created. Okay. Going back to my gallery real quick, you'll also now see that when I click the plus sign to open up a new canvas, that I have that pen wrap. I now have two pen wrap options down here since we just created another one. So let's go back to our canvas. And we're going to start to create. So I'm going to show you one that you can create just with different brushes and, you know, using different colors from a color palette in Procreate. And then I'm going to show you how to create another style pen wrap where you can pull some digital designs or some artwork maybe that you've got off Creative Fabrica to create your own pen wrap design. So for this, let's do a cute leopard print style pen wrap because you guys know how much I love leopard print. So for this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select a brush that's a little bit wide. So I like to use kind of a fatter brush when I am working and trying to create a gradient for my background. So I'm going to go to airbrushing, and my favorite brush to use for this size of a canvas is the soft airbrush. So now we're going to go up to our colors, and I've already put a couple of color palettes into my Procreate here, and these are just ones that I have either downloaded from Procreate or downloaded from Creative Fabrica, or I have you know, gotten from images off of pictures and things and created my own color palette. So we're going to use some of these purples from here, and we're going to create kind of a cute gradient. So I'm going to use this color palette right here and use a bunch of these purples. So we're on one layer, okay? It already opens up a layer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to swipe back and forth, coloring in the section. So we're going to do like 4 colors here, okay? Then I'm going to switch color. I'm still on the same layer, okay? We're going to go with a darker. And the goal here is, of course, just to cover up all the white space in the background because we don't really want that to be seen, okay? So then I'm going to go to the next color. I'm going to go to this purple first before I go to that deeper, richer purple last. And we'll color a section here. And then finally, let's do our final color, which we're going to do this super deep purple that we have here and just color up. This is almost like a deep indigo or deep blue when you look at it like this. Okay, so when I am satisfied, let me fix that a little bit. When I'm satisfied, I now want these colors to blend so we don't have such harsh lines. So keeping this as it is, I'm going to go to this little magic wand tool here. And I'm going to go down until I find Gaussian blur. And then this is going to blur and blend my gradient, okay? So I'm just going to move my pen from left to right until I have a blend that I'm satisfied with. So I'm going to go with 21%. I like how that looks. And we're going to leave that just like that, okay? So now we're going to go back to our layers. And we're going to add a layer over top. Now on this layer, I'm going to add the leopard print. And so I have downloaded a leopard print file, an animal print file from Procreate. You can download different brushes from lots of different places. I particularly love to either find mine on Etsy or find mine on Creative Fabrica. They have a lot of choices. So you also can use any of the textured brushes as well. These are free with Procreate when you download Procreate. So there's a lot of different designs and textures that you can use that would also look really nice on top of, you know, a gradient looking style pen wrap. But we're gonna go back to my animal print that I have, and I'll link the animal print brush set that I have in the description box. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna select this leopard print 1, okay? So now for leopard print, what I find I like better when I'm doing a brush is I like to use my fingers versus using my pen, only because when I use my pen, so we're gonna go and select white because I want my leopard print to be white. Make sure we're still on the leopard print. So when I use my brush, I find that sometimes I don't get all the spots, or if I pick up my brush where it thinks I picked up my brush, it'll make other sections lighter or darker, and so I don't really care for that. Now, remember, you can change the opacity of the color of your brush over here at this lower toggle feature, so this would make it super bright, and if I decided to lower the opacity, it's going to be a little bit more faint, okay? So I'm actually going to put this all the way to the 100% opacity, and I'm going to use my finger because for whatever reason, this picks up my finger registering better than with my pen, so it doesn't think that I've lifted my hands, and I'm just going to swipe back and forth until I cover the entire canvas without picking up my finger, okay? Now, I could have decided my opacity over here before I drew with my finger, but what I like to do is I like to just make it at 100% opacity, and then I'm gonna go back to my layers. I'm gonna make sure I'm on my leopard print layer. I'm going to click on the N here, and this is going to open up this toggle feature that you can use to control this layer only. So I always use the opacity here, and I will just sort of make it lighter and kind of make it however whatever finish I'm kind of looking for. So I kind of like this faint finish. I did 24% there. Now again, you could do the same thing over here and kind of skip this step, but because I don't ever know like what opacity I might be looking for, I like to leave it at 100% on the canvas and then just toggle with it here. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and start another file here. So I've just opened a brand new canvas, and I was gonna have you just listen to the rest of the voiceover that I recorded while doing this. However, my furnace kicked on and it was so loud that it just kind of took over everything. So I want to show you how you can use images that you already have and how you can pull them into Procreate and use them for your background designs. So we're going to be using a couple of files that I've created myself and have on my Etsy shop, which I will list down below. So we're going to use the Be Floral design and the Be Kind PNG image that I have on my site. But I want to show you first how you can send things directly to Procreate so that you don't have to worry about saving it to your photo gallery. So I'm in my files right here on my iPad, and I already have a bunch of images that I've downloaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select an image that I already have, but something that maybe, let's say, I want to use in Procreate. So I have this beautiful image in design that I want to send to Procreate, let's say, and so I'm going to open the image, and then I'm going to go up to that top right-hand corner there, right where I would normally share or how I would save this to my gallery, and I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go to that center section and click Procreate. So this is going to send the image directly to Procreate so that I don't have to worry about getting this saved to my photo gallery and then copying the image, let's say, and pasting it on my canvas. So when you do this, this document or this image will now be a separate image inside of Procreate, and then you can just copy and paste from one canvas to another as opposed to having to upload a photo. Now, of course, you could always upload a photo, but I don't know about you, but I don't always have a whole lot of space when it comes to my photo gallery. So I try not to save a bunch of downloaded images that I have to use in Procreate. I just use this kind of send feature. So now we're going to be using the two images that I have created. So we're using the Be Kind floral that I have, or the Be floral pattern that I have, a seamless pattern, and then the Be Kind. And so I am on the image here that I've opened up, and I know it's hard to see, it's unfortunately super bright, but I'm going to use the 4-finger tap feature. So you take your 4 fingers and you tap the screen, and it'll bring up this copy and paste. I'm going to select copy all because this is broken up into 2 sections. And so I want to make sure it captures the whole image and not just the layer that I happen to be on. I'm going to go back to my gallery. I'm going to go all the way back to the canvas that we were using for our pen wrap here. And then I'm going to open that up, use my 4 fingers again, tap the screen with all 4 fingers, and click paste. This is going to paste that image directly into the canvas that I'm working with so that I can just stretch it and use it how I wish to. So this again kind of just skips the step of using the import a photo feature so that you don't have to save those images to your photo gallery. So once I've gotten that stretched and fit to the canvas using the mouse feature, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my gallery once again, and we're going to go back to my digital designs and grab the Be Kind PNG image that I have that's on my Etsy shop as well. Everything that I use today, of course, will be listed and linked down in the description box in case you want to grab any of these images or any of the brushes that I'm showing you that I use today. So I have my image here. We're going to do the same process, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and use the 4-finger tap. So taking my 4 fingers, tapping the screen, clicking copy all, going back to my gallery, back to my canvas that I'm working on. And then I'm going to do the 4-finger tap to paste this directly onto my image here. So I'm just using my fingers to adjust my canvas, and now I'm going to shrink that image slightly so that it fits nicely right in that center portion. So I know it's a little bit hard to see, and I'm sorry about that. I wish that I would have realized that it was so impossible to kind of see the background floral, but hopefully you're getting a gist of the design. So I've just adjusted kind of the sizing because remember, this is going on a pen. This is not going on something larger. So I want to make sure that you can see the image without it kind of warping all the way around the pen. I've now gone to my layers. I'm going to add another layer here, and I'm going to drag that layer down below my Be Kind SVG or PNG because we're going to create a background from behind the image here. So I want to make sure that it's an image or that the background is going to match the floral. So I'm just going to zoom in and pick the pink that is the same color as the roses on here, and then we're going to go to my brushes here. And now that I have the color I want selected, I'm going to go to my sparkle glitter brushes, which I had downloaded from Creative Fabrica, and I'm going to use sparkle brush number 9 to be able to give kind of like a glittered looking pattern to the background portion of this pen wrap that we're creating here. So once I've gone ahead and gotten the image gotten the brush that I am looking for, I always forget what it's called, so it takes me a minute always to find this brush set for whatever reason. I'm already on sparkle brush number 9, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on that, and then click back on my canvas, and I'm going to increase the size of my brush width, and then I'm just going to swipe back and forth to kind of color that background section. Now what I'm going to do, because I realized that the glitter section was showing up in front of that image, I want to make sure that this is behind the floral pattern that's below as well, the bee floral, so that it kind of hides behind it. So now that I seem pretty satisfied with how that looks, we're going to do one last step here, and that's going to be to create just a straight line across the center, which separates the glitter pattern from the floral pattern, the bee floral pattern that is below it. So again, I'm adding another layer. I'm going to go and select my monoline brush. It's my favorite brush to use. And I'm going to go ahead and just draw a straight line from one side to the other. And I have the snap feature set, so that means that when I hold a straight line for a couple of seconds, it will snap my line into a straight line. That way I can just adjust it and make sure it's not crooked, and I don't have to worry about having a super wiggly or squiggly line. So I hope that makes sense. I know that for this was a little bit hard to see for this portion. Hopefully you were able to get the gist of how I create pen wraps in the first part of the video with the leopard print pen wrap, but there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of create your own pen wraps, and you can use images that you've created. You can pull things from Creative Fabrica, Etsy, wherever you are grabbing your images. So the final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the wrench button, hit the share button, save this as a PNG, and I always send it to myself as a pattern via email versus saving it to my photo gallery, but it's up to you. You can certainly save it to your photo gallery and then upload it into Cricut or whatever you're going to print in. So now I'm going to show you how I get these set up for printing. So I don't typically use Cricut Design Space when it comes to printing my images, just because the print and cut feature doesn't work so well anyway on my Cricut. Most times it kind of cuts it off. So I like to use the Google Docs just from good old Google to be able to cut or get my images printed, I should say. So I've just changed the setup of my page to be 1/2-inch margins, and I have set this to landscape since I know these are going to be longer, so I can fit a bunch kind of right next to each other on the line. So I'm going to go ahead and hit image and hit upload. We're going to just grab these, which I've already saved to my computer here, and I'm just going to go ahead and get all of these imported into my canvas or into my document here. So just selecting one at a time. They're going to come in much larger than they actually are, so I go to the image options tab, hit size and rotation, and the lock aspect ratio is already set, so all I have to do is click 1.5, and that's going to automatically default to the 4.75, okay? Then I like to create a little bit of space in between them so they're not right up against each other, but whatever you choose to do is fine to maximize the amount of space here, and I'm going to get the rest of these imported. So every time I import them, again, it shows up at that larger size, so I just have to make sure that I change the sizing to 1.5 inches width, and then I just repeat this over all of the images and pen wraps that I am putting on this sheet. So I'm able to get a good amount of these on one sheet. I think I could probably get anywhere from, I was able to get 5 right across even with space. On the bottom, I probably could even fit 2 more if I change the orientation of them to fit in that lower space. For these, I find, and why I use Google Docs, I should say, is because I can fit more things on the paper anyway and be able to maximize the paper that I'm going to be using, whether it's water slide or, you know, printable sticker paper. It just is able to maximize the amount of space I'm able to use, and I don't have to worry about wasting all of that like I would in Cricut Design Space. So once I'm satisfied with that, I'm going to go ahead and get this printed on my printer. We're going to be using 2 different papers today, and so let's get these print, and then I'll talk about the different paper that I used and kind of get these applied to our pens. So I cut the same image on 2 paper. I did water slide decal paper from Hippo, which is just clear water slide, and then I also used the Koala Inkjet matte sticker paper. So this is the matte paper, and so we don't have to do anything with that, but with the clear water slide, I did go ahead and seal this 3 times with clear gloss spray paint. So now I'm just trimming them all up, all of the matte sticker ones, and then I'm going to cut out just one of the water slide papers. So now I'm going to show you these pens from Maker Flow. So I'm really excited to use these and I absolutely love them, and here's a few reasons why. First being they're super simple and easy to use, but what I also love about them is they come with the care instructions on the back of them, as well as an extra ink for the pen itself. They also have this super cute little packaging that I literally can place them all back in when I'm finished with them. And what's even cooler is that with these pens, because it's a stainless steel pen, you're essentially decorating the outside portion. It's like an outside barrel that comes off of the entire pen. And so you were able to keep all of your pen pieces together without losing those little tiny pieces in, on your table or wherever you're using them. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all the outside barrels from all of the pens that we're going to be working with today. And now we're going to go ahead and get these prepped. So just like I would prep a stainless steel tumbler, we're going to prep these just the same. So I'm just going to scuff up the surface with an 80 grit sanding block, just making sure to remove that shine from the outside of the pen and get these ready to have either the vinyl applied to them or glitter. So again, scuffing them up, and then we're going to go ahead and get these cleaned off with a little bit of a 91% rubbing alcohol and a paper towel so that we can get all of the debris from the sanding block off of them, and that way we can move on to the next step. So after I've cleaned them up, we're then going to put them on my little pen dowels that I utilize for my pen making needs. And so you can grab just wooden dowels from Walmart. You don't have to grab them from anywhere specific. The ones that I do have were from True Quality Designs because I have a pen turner attachment to my tumbler turner that I grabbed from them, and the dowels came with them. But you can certainly grab the wooden dowels right from Walmart. They all work exactly the same. So now that these are prepped, we are going to be doing one pen with glitter since we're using a water slide on one of them. And so how I'm going to get this pen ready is we're going to use UV resin for this. So I'm going to take a little bit of UV resin on my spray painted pen here, and I'm going to apply a very thin coat of this UV resin so that we can apply our glitter. So we're going to use the UV resin as our adhesive here to be able to apply glitter. Certainly you could mix some of the glitter and the UV resin and apply it that way, but this is another way that you can apply your glitter to your pens without having to, use Mod Podge or other things. So I'm going to go in with Fairy Dust, which is Vinyl Gallery's glitter from their 4K glitter line. And I'm going to set this under my lamp for 60 seconds to 2 minutes to get this fully cured. So once it is fully cured, then I will do a couple layers of UV resin over top of the pen to make sure that it is nice and smooth. That way I can apply the water slide wrap over top of this. So you're going to watch a quick speed session here of me doing the couple layers of the UV resin over top so that this is nicely sealed and ready for the water slide application. So going back to my pen wraps here, I have two of the zebra print ones, so I'm just going to select the water slide one so I can show you how to use these on water slide wraps as well. So I'm going to show you how to use the sticker ones first. So again, this is a matte sticker vinyl from Koala Paper, and so I've just taken the backing completely off. Then I'm going to take my stainless steel pen barrel and I'm going to hold it with both hands, and I'm going to very carefully set that in the middle. Once I've done that, I'm going to roll the pen away from me to get that edge of the paper to stick, and then roll it towards me to get the other half of the sticker paper to stick to the pen. It is literally the easiest way that you can apply pen wraps, and you don't have to worry about fighting and having air bubbles or having gaps in them to have any issues when applying. So I'm going to show you, how to do all of these and kind of how easy it is to apply them. And these do have a slight overlap because we didn't add any glitter to these, but I'm not even going to worry about trimming any of the overlap off because it's such a small section that it's not going to make a difference, and it's not going to change the feel of the pen when you go to put the UV resin over top of these. The other thing I wanted to mention is I know that this was a tutorial that really showed you how you can make your own pen wraps in Procreate, but don't think that you have to go and create your own pen wraps. You can easily go to Creative Fabrica, Etsy, and download pen wraps and be able to use sticker paper to print them. You also could use vinyl that you already have. Take a 12 by 12 sheet of vinyl and make a template sized 1.5 inches wide by 4.75 inches in height, and cut that template and then just cut a bunch of different pen wraps using that template out of a 12 by 12 seamless design. Then you can have gorgeous matching pens to a beautiful vinyl that you love and not have to worry about creating your own pen wraps. So those are just a couple other alternatives that I wanted to share with you, because it's not always about creating your own designs. There's a lot of other ways that you can still create beautiful and gorgeous pens that are unique and different and fun. And you know, I just wanted to share with you guys that it doesn't always have to be with using Procreate. So we're going to do this final pen here that I have, and I'm going to go ahead and do this one more time for you. Again, it's so quick, so simple, so easy, like if you blink, you'll miss it kind of a thing. So literally just put that pen barrel right in the center, roll away from you, then literally roll towards you, and voila, you have a beautifully wrapped pen all ready to go. And then the next thing I need to do is just get these applied with UV resin to get them completely sealed. So now we're going to do the water slide wrap here. And so I have my white glittered pen here, and I've just got a bucket of water here that I've submerged my water slide wrap into. And once it is ready to be removed from the backing, it easily slides off. I'm going to wet the pen, and we're going to apply this directly to the pen, the glittered pen we have here. Now again, the way that these are cut, it really does make it really easy to be able to apply these and not have to worry about there being a gap on the other side. These are wide enough at the 1.5 inches wide to fit all the way around the pen, even with multiple layers of UV resin over top. So quick and easy to be able to apply this. I'm using mostly my finger here, but you will see me go ahead and use my squeegee tool as well. And that's just to squeeze out any of the water or air that could be trapped under my pen wrap. But it's almost a perfect fit, so much so that I'm not even going to bother with that teeny tiny seam that I have on that one side. I'm just going to go ahead and let that dry. So once all of these have dried, well, once the water slide one has dried, I'm going to go ahead and get these finished up. So the way that I finish these is I'm going to be adding UV resin to seal in the wrap to make sure that it can't get destroyed or messed with in just the normal everyday use. So I picked up these cute little clips, which just makes holding the pens under the lamp so much easier, from Home Depot. They were like 15 cents. I don't even know. They were super inexpensive, but worth all of the little pocket change it cost me to use them or to grab them, because it just saves me the step of having to hold the pen with my hand under the lamp and, you know, have to wait for the timer to count down on my UV lamp. So I'm going to go ahead and do my first layer of UV resin over top of these pens with the pen wraps here. Just a pretty thin coat, making sure that it's even and that I don't have any, you know, large sections of clumped up UV resin. We want it thin enough that when we set it, that the UV resin isn't going to start to kind of pull off. So you want to be mindful about how much UV resin you're putting on your pens. That way you don't end up with unnecessary bumps and lumps and things that you might need to sand. So while that one is curing, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. And that's exactly why I love these little clips. They're not really for pens, but I'm using them for pens, and I think it's the best thing ever. So I just love how easy it is to be able to have that curing while I'm working on the next pen, saving me the step and saving me extra time in having to wait for one to be done before I can work on the next one. So I'm going to do this for all of these, and the amount of time that I take to cure these probably was from anywhere from, I would say, a total of 2 minutes. So I did like 2 cycles of 60 seconds, one on the top half, and then you'll see that I took it out from under the lamp, and then I flipped the clamps and turned the pen completely around so that it could cure the back half of the pen as well. And then the whole thing was kind of cured and ready for that second layer or second coat of UV resin. In total, I did about 3 coats of UV resin over this. I probably could have gotten away with just doing 2, but I wanted to make sure that these were super cured and super kind of sealed, if you will. And so I did the 3rd coat just as kind of a coat for good measure, so to speak, to just ensure that I had a good seal on the pen wraps and that I wasn't going to have any issues with, you know, these coming undone or falling apart, you know, with just normal wear and tear. So we're going to go ahead and watch the speed session really quick. You're going to see me just kind of do the speed session of getting all of these under the UV lamp. Again, just a couple minutes for each of them. So this probably took me a total of 30 minutes or so to do all of them. And that was just with turning them, you know, applying UV resin, waiting for them to cure under the lamp before they were kind of good to go for me to finish these up. So the very last thing after these are cured, I have them in my little pen stand here. And the other thing that you can add is these little charms. So I have a huge little, you know, contraption here, like a bead jewelry case of different charms. You can use croc charms. I have these little flat back charms. I have buttons that literally I've picked up from Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, you name it, any craft store. They always have these cute little buttons. And so I love to use these as little embellishments for pens that I'm making. And so I have these little beads, which you guys have seen me use in a previous tutorial for a rhinestone tumbler. And I have these cute little like gems, these floral gems that I've used in another pen tutorial that I'm going to use. So I end up not using the bee charm just because I already had that Be Kind SVG or PNG image on the bee pen. So I decided to not use that. It just looked too large and just didn't look like it would fit on the pen the way I wanted it to. If I didn't have that image in the center, then I definitely would have used this, but I decided last minute not to. But this is also an option. You can certainly search on Amazon. There are so many different options for little charms that you could grab to be able to sort of add extra embellishments to your pens and different, you know, different charms and things to give your pens a little bit of a unique look. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply that little floral piece, that little floral gem that I grabbed from Hobby Lobby, and I just put a little bit of UV resin right in the spot that I wanted it to be adhered to, and then I'm going to set this under the lamp for 60 seconds or so to fully cure. Didn't take very long, probably didn't even need the full 60 seconds, but I decided to make sure that I used the full 60 seconds to make sure that all the UV resin had fully cured. So once I am done with that curing, we're now going to go back and get our pens and get these cleaned up to get them put back in their packaging for the final look. So taking the pens off the dowels, I'm just going to go ahead and take my 80 grit sanding block rather, and just kind of make sure there isn't anything sharp along the bottom. Sometimes UV resin, when you're using that, or even epoxy, sometimes will get kind of pooled at the bottom over the bottom edge. And so what I love too is that I don't have to worry about kind of the curve that you have on an Inkjoy gel pen at the top, where you have to do a lot of sanding to make sure you don't have rough glitter. These just need a couple passes of my sanding block just to make sure there wasn't any UV resin stuck to the bottom edge. And literally that was all I really needed to do to get these cleaned up as far as sanding goes. So now we're back to putting these all back together. So again, I'm just going to unscrew that bottom portion, put this little barrel right over top of the smaller barrel inside, literally put that back together, and this can go right into the little packaging and it's ready to go. That is that simple. Literally the simplest thing to put these all back together. And again, it has everything that the customer could need for, you know, using the pen and being able to care for the pen. So speed session, of course, of putting these back together and kind of the final look of these. I absolutely love how these came together. I think that these are awesome as for an option for pens. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope that this was helpful in your pen making journey if you love to make pens. And as always, if you love today's video, give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!